In the earliest days of Star Trek fandom, there were no searchable databases. We didn't have any streaming episode guides, no wiki with collapsible canon timelines. If you wanted to remember what happened in the menagerie, or who exactly T'Pau was, or how many times Captain Kirk kissed someone on an alien world, you didn't go online. You went to the shelf, and you reached for the Star Trek Concordance.
The following program is brought to you in living color.
Remember that in all of these videos, there's going to be a link in the description that you can go to where you will actually be taken to an affiliate link on Amazon showing you the availability of the books that I've been discussing.
To most, it is a familiar name. But for those of us who were there, or who came later and studied it like scripture, the Concordance is more than a fan guide. It's a symbol of how early Trek fandom built something lasting, not just through passion, but through organization. And it didn't start with a person whose name is most often attached to it. You see, the story doesn't, ironically, begin with Bejo Trimble, but from another fan, Dorothy Jones, a linguist and early Star Trek enthusiast who began compiling episode data during the show's first run on NBC. She wasn't seeking fame or any type of recognition. She was just trying to keep track of all the characters, alien ships, and plot lines. Star Trek, after all, was intricate. Recurring themes, reused props, continuity questions. It cried out to be indexed. So Dorothy began a personal file. Plot summaries, star dates, alien species, vocabulary terms. She treated it like a school project, because in many ways, it was. Her research caught the attention of other fans, including Bejo Trimble, who had already become a figurehead of sorts within the fan community. Her leadership in the campaign to save Star Trek after Season 2 would go on to become legendary. When Trimble saw the potential in Jones's episode guide, she asked permission to take it further, to expand it and share it more widely, and to share it more widely with fandom. With Dorothy's blessing, the Concordance began its next evolution. You see, Bejo took Dorothy's meticulous records and gave them shape, literally. She turned them into a spiral-bound publication, sold it and shared across the growing network of Star Trek fan clubs and conventions. These early versions were all printed on copy machines, sometimes mimeographed, with plain covers and typed headers. They weren't flashy, but they were functional, and fans loved them. The format included full episode synopsises, original air dates, character references, and even call out for repeated themes or reused footage.
If you have any videos, photos, or documents that you would like to donate to us, please feel free to send them to jim@trek-world.com or submit them via the web at submit.trek-world.com.
Perhaps most famously, the Concordance featured something fans hadn't seen before: stardate indexing. Episodes weren't just listed by title, they were cross-referenced by their fictional timeline. I guess you could say that in many ways, it was the memory alpha of its day. In 1976, the guide had grown so influential that Trimble was approached by Ballantine Books, who offered to publish it commercially. That same year, the Star Trek Concordance hit bookshelves in a mass-market paperback form. And in doing so, well, it became one of the most important references works in early Trek history. You see, that Ballantine edition wasn't just a reprint of what she had done before. It was redesigned, reformatted, and visually enhanced. Obviously, we had synopsises for all 79 episodes of the original series, a glossary of alien terms and phrases, a character index with episode citations, timelines and stardate data as mentioned before, trivial notes and cross-references. It also featured a rotating episode selector wheel placed in the cover, a circular insert that let readers match episode numbers to stardates and titles, It was charmingly analog, slightly impractical, but we loved it as fans. What set that concordance apart was that it wasn't written with studio oversight. It was written from fandom, for fandom, with love. It wasn't always perfectly accurate, as later guides would be sure to point out, but it felt authoritative. And at a time before DVDs were streaming, it was often the only way to revisit an episode without waiting for it to re-air on local syndication. For many of us Star Trek Gen 1 fans, the Concordance was more than a reference guide. It was proof that what we were seeing on the screen was worth building around things. It gave structure to the chaos of early fandom. It allowed for trivia contests, episode debates, and fan fiction continuity. If the Starfleet Technical Manual gave us the hardware, well, the Concordance gave us the map. It also helped to unify a rapidly expanding community. Different fan clubs across the U.S., from California to New York, Chicago to Austin, could use the same terms, the same star dates, the same definitions. It made Star Trek feel less like a fragmented rerun and more like a shared living universe. Bijou's Concordance became a staple at conventions. If you showed up at a dealer's table without a copy, you were bound to see one displayed next to the Spock ears and communicator props. It wasn't flashy, but it was essential. So look closely at today's Star Trek resources. Fan databases, episode guides, podcasts, wikis, and you will see the fingerprints of the Concordance everywhere you look. Its influence lives on in the use of star dates to organize episodes. Its influence, even today, still lives on in the use of star dates to organize episodes. Fan-maintained continuity maps, thematic tagging of stories, character citation systems, and community-driven canon annotations. It also helped shape the idea that Star Trek wasn't just entertainment, but it was actually a system of things, something that could be understood, it could be charted, it could be filed and debated. In a 2000s interview, Bijou reflected on the Concordance with characteristic humility. "I didn't invent it," she said, "but I knew it needed to be shared, and she was right. And because she did, generations of fans, long before streaming or rewatch culture, learned how to think like Starfleet officers. Methodical, curious, connected. Before encyclopedias, before blueprints, before Memory Alpha, there was this, the Star Trek Concordance. It didn't come from a studio, it came from us. From a linguist with a typewriter. From a fan with a mission. From a network of viewers who believed that the final frontier wasn't just out there, it was on the page. And for a moment in time, one paperback held the whole galaxy together. And I just wanted to thank you so much for visiting my channel to watch one of my videos. I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it. If you do enjoy this video, I would personally be very grateful if you might please consider subscribing to the channel. Why, you might ask? Well, viewer subscriptions help to ensure that I am able to continue providing more Trek World content like the video you just watched.